This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. The St. Catherine Public Health Department says there has been continued vector control activities in Portmore, particularly Waterford. Grayson Hutchinson, Chief Public Health Inspector for the parish, said the activities started long before notifications of dengue cases were received and have increased since. Attention is being placed on Waterford as Mayor of Portmore, Leon Thomas, has stated that 2 recent suspected dengue-related deaths occurred in the community. Speaking at a Portmore Municipal Corporation meeting, Mr. Hutchinson said vector control activities have been carried out in the entire Waterford community, with a total of 885 homes being inspected and 21 found to breed mosquitoes. The affected properties have been treated. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton addressed the issue of fogging at Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives.
The index in the Portmore area and in parts of Portmore like Waterford is high. So you do have a high population of Aedes aegypti and breeding sites. I'll say to the member that I have visited the Portmore area personally with the vector workers. And I know for a fact, having met with the full team in St. Catherine on Sunday, where we had a 2-hour discussion around the strategy for the parish, that there is activity going on in the Portmore community and in places like Waterford. I have indicated to them that they should be in touch with the local municipality. I know they met with the mayor of Spanish Town and the mayor of Portmore. I have spoken to both mayors personally. And I have indicated to the team that they should work with the local municipality, the local representatives on the ground, and other stakeholders to the extent that they need particular areas investigated.
Property owners are being advised to avoid trying to force the government into making them bigger offers in instances where the state needs to acquire land for infrastructure development. The caution was delivered by National Works Agency Chief Executive Officer E.G. Hunter at yesterday's meeting of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, which reviewed the second supplementary estimates for the current fiscal period. Hunter explained that it is the National Land Agency which has oversight for land acquisition and which negotiates all such transactions. Hunter disclosed that there are some lingering issues with acquiring land on Hagley Park Road and Constant Spring Roads in St. Andrew, where major road and infrastructure projects are underway.
There are still some landowners who, for a variety of reasons, have compelled us to go to compulsory acquisition rather than private treaty, and that in itself takes some time.
He pointed out that it is significantly more efficient for property owners to enter into private treaty with the NWA for the sale of their lands instead of going into a situation of forced acquisition. Members of Parliament paid tribute to former National Security Minister Dwight Nelson in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Leader of Government Business in the House, Carl Samuda, said Mr. Nelson served workers and the poor of Jamaica with vigor.
Dwight Nelson has been a friend of mine for over 40 years. We worked very closely on the political hustings. We worked very closely in government. And I can attest, based on our close relationship, the extent to which we were all impressed with his commitment to the poor and needy of our country. He was somebody who was fiercely defensive of and fought vigorously for the well-being of the workers. And if it were not wages, it was for working conditions. But he was unrelenting in every single aspect of his being to do all that was possible to assist the welfare of the workers of this country.
Nelson, a diabetic who'd been ailing for some time, passed away on December 24. He was 68 years old. Leader of opposition Dr. Peter Phillips said Dwight Nelson operated with decency in all aspects of his life.
Over all those years, and including the periods of our political involvement, Dwight Nelson at every point in time proved that politics and decency can in fact cohere and combine. And I think that reflects the condition of his entire life. He was at times a part of the private sector, at times a part of the trade union movement, and he never lost the respect of either element that he was associated with. He served the country with distinction.
Renowned political historian Troy Kane has died. Kane was 71 years old. He died yesterday afternoon after ailing for some time. Kane was also a researcher, graphics consultant, calligrapher, and designer. He was also a Gleaner columnist and radio commentator on political affairs and was a voice of authority, especially at election time. In 2011, he received the Order of Distinction, Officer Class, for his contribution to journalism in the field of culture, political history, and Jamaican literature. Kane was born in Junction, St. Elizabeth on December 7, 1947. A group of women at Fort Augusta Adult Correctional Center have taken to Facebook Live demanding that the authorities take appropriate measures to secure them. It follows Wednesday night's stabbing of an inmate in a dorm she shared with a prisoner awaiting trial for murder after allegedly stabbing a man to death while he was being searched by the police just over 2 years ago. The attacker is before the court on a charge of unlawful wounding in connection with the stabbing of an inmate during an altercation last year. In the Facebook video, the inmates accused prison officials of taking too long to respond to calls for help, saying it took them more than 30 minutes before wardens accessed the cell to rescue the inmate. Director of Corporate Communications and Public Relations at the Department of Correctional Services, Dexter Thompson, rejected claims that prison officials took too long to rescue the victim, saying his team moved expeditiously in this incident. He also said the Corrections Service is doing everything it can to ensure that prisoners are safe. The inmate has been hospitalized. Thompson said the incident is being investigated by the police. The US dollar on Thursday, January 10, ended trading at Jamaican $130.65, up by $1.08. According to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary, the Canadian dollar ended trading at $97.20, down from $98.09, while the British pound sterling ended trading at $164.55, up from $161.33. In regional news, Jamaica has agreed not to recognize the legitimacy of Nicolas Maduro's new term as president of Venezuela. The vote was taken during a meeting Thursday of the Permanent Council of the Organization of American States. Jamaica's support of the vote not to recognize Mr. Maduro's second term comes just 2 days after the government announced it will be seeking to take over Venezuela's 49% stake in the Petrogem refinery. The resolution was approved by 19 votes in favor, 6 against, 8 abstentions, and 1 absent. The resolution urges all member states to adopt diplomatic, political, economic, and financial measures that they consider appropriate to contribute to the prompt restoration of democracy in Venezuela. It also calls for new presidential elections to be held at an early date and attended by international observers. Maduro was sworn in Thursday for a second term as Venezuela's president, despite international criticism that his re-election is illegitimate. In sports, 2011 world champion Johan Blake is now being coached by Patrick Dawson, bringing to end a 10-year association with head coach of Racers Track Club, Glenn Mills. Dawson, who serves as technical director at the University of the West Indies-based outfit, has taken over the coaching responsibilities for the world's second fastest man in history after a disagreement between Mills and Blake led to the veteran coach severing his ties with the 29-year-old sprinter. And that's the news. Thanks so much for making it PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. Pleasant viewing.